First of all, could you brief us on the background of yourself? What brings you to blockchain? Why you start Talisman and choose Polkadot, etc.?
Awesome. Thank you, Kristen. Well, my name online is Agyle, and I'm the co-founder of Talisman. As you mentioned, we are building a wallet for Polkadot. We're trying to build a very user-friendly wallet for Polkadot and the multi-chain world that we call the Paraverse. The reason that I kind of fell into Web3 actually in 2017. I got involved. I was in a co-working space in Australia, and I had learned about Bitcoin and Ethereum, and I was trying to wrap my head around how to get my hands on some of it and use it. And I met a guy in a co-working space who sold me my first cryptocurrency actually, and we became co-founders eventually. So he was a smart contract engineer, and my background's kind of in game design, 3D art and interactive media, and also startups. And so I was learning to build web applications at the time. So I was learning to build sort of interactive websites, and we had these complementary skills. So he was building smart contracts, I was building front ends, and this was kind of around the time of CryptoKitties, and a lot of things being built on Ethereum were really simple, and it was not very well understood how it could be leveraged, and we just started hacking on different projects together. So eventually we co-founded a development sort of agency called FlexDApps, and that eventually kind of grew into being a venture studio where we actually did venture building for a lot of Web3 projects. We helped them to build their core technology, build their core team, and launch their projects. And in 2021, I've always had an interest in Polkadot. I actually previously attempted to get into the Polkadot ecosystem by building a business for node operators. But in 2021, we had the opportunity to work on Talisman because Hypersphere Ventures, who are a venture fund in the Polkadot ecosystem, they asked FlexDApps to build a wallet and a staking dashboard for Polkadot. But we realized that this is a pretty tricky problem, building a wallet for the multi-chain world of Polkadot. And we like interesting, difficult problems to work on. So we got quite excited about it. But also wallets are difficult businesses. They take a lot of perseverance. You need a really great team. You need really good security. And like you're ultimately building code which is going to secure people's funds, and it's not something that you can just build and sort of hand off. Our venture business, we would build things and we would hand it off to the people who wanted it built. We'd help them build a team and sort of help them set sail, and hopefully they would succeed. But a wallet project really needs people to own it and see it through. And so we decided that to actually take on the business ourselves and to build a wallet in Polkadot. So that's how the business came around. We were originally asked to build it as a piece of client work, as a services project. And we realized it was very important that this project, if it was to succeed, it had a strong founding team to see it through the journey.
As you already mentioned a little bit that why you started the Talisman. And the second question is that can you detail us that when you start the Talisman, how you envision the future, what you're gonna bring to Polkadot?
Good question. So, I mean, I think that we saw the role of Talisman in Polkadot and the future that we wanted to bring as enabling composability in Polkadot. There's a lot of amazing parachain projects, blockchains that are connected by Polkadot that are either application specific, they do something very special and specific, or they're generalized application platforms themselves. And what's most important is for them to be able to collaborate. So the thing that created a real network effect in Ethereum was the composability that emerged between the protocols that were built on Ethereum. And what that ultimately led to is the cost of building things on Ethereum came down because there were all of these components that you could take and use to quickly bootstrap a business. There was all of this liquidity that you could tap into. So if you want the incentive to build a business, build a project on Ethereum went up. And and also the value for users for every new project that came along. If you have an Ethereum account, now I can use 1, 2, 5, 10, 100 different applications, all with the same account. And so the value to users grew as well. And this created this amazing network effect. And really the key to that is the composability. It leads to more value for users, more value for the people building projects and businesses, and it ultimately drives the cost down of building things over time. And Polkadot was still so new, and I felt like what was needed from a wallet was to help accelerate composability. What we really want is for people to be able to, with a single wallet, go and use every single application that exists in the Paraverse. So whether that be a parachain specific application, whether that be an application deployed on a parachain, if you can use all of those with a single wallet, that creates so much more value for the users of the Polkadot ecosystem. And then that creates even more of an incentive to build on Polkadot. It helps to get this network effect going. And so the future vision that we want to enable is one where Polkadot has a massive network effect and is growing really fast and can ultimately lead to, thousands and thousands of, valuable decentralized services that people can leverage.
What have you done to reach the vision so far?
Yeah, good question. Talisman's a very new project, and so we've been around, a little bit over a year. We started by rolling out a web application that allowed anyone to connect their Polkadot.js wallet or any Web3 wallet that they had and be able to see their balances. And so start to get a clear picture of what they're doing across all of the parachains. In March, we launched our extension, the Talisman wallet, which you can get on the Chrome store or on the Firefox store. So we've released a browser extension wallet that allows you to interact with every application in the Polkadot ecosystem, including the EVM applications. We've just added EVM support, and you can see all of your balances and all of the assets that you're collecting across the Paraverse, and you can do all the things. And so we've created an application wallet that allows you to explore this emerging multi-chain world, and there's still a lot more to do. We need to improve the APIs that dApp developers are interacting with and make those more user-friendly. Those are still very new. We need to have more balances and better balance support. We need to improve a lot of things. It's going to be a long journey, but so far we've created a really easy, user-friendly tool for exploring the Polkadot ecosystem and using any application.
So will there be new product launching plan that our audience could expect?
We're working on a few things. So like I said, we've just rolled out EVM support. We're about to launch an entirely new way to view all of your balances. And so if you're a Polkadot power user, if you're someone using many blockchains, it's very hard to keep track of all of the things that are going on across all of those networks. And we're about to launch, an improved portfolio management experience that allows you to see all of your assets on all of the parachains. You can already do that in Talisman, but this is much more improved. If we can include some images later in post, if that's possible, I can share those with you. And we're working on a few interesting problems. We're looking at adding light clients, browser-based light clients to Talisman, so that users do not need to connect to a centralized intermediary like an RPC or a node operator to broadcast their transactions. They can connect directly to the network themselves. That sort of makes Talisman a lot more uncensorable, a lot safer. No one can front run your transactions. We're looking at a lot of things. What else is there off the top of my head? We're trying to make the extension a bit smarter, and sort of when you arrive at dApps, showing you the collateral assets that are relevant to you, better NFT support, lots of things. So no product launches per se, but lots of features coming out. We have also just submitted a proposal to the Polkadot Treasury to add to our web application a service for viewing your transaction history across every chain that you use in Polkadot, which is quite a tricky problem. So multi-chain transaction history is coming soon too. But yeah, perhaps that's enough for now.
Well, exciting, a lot of things to expect. You are a fresh new team, and what hurdles have you ever come across during the year?
Yeah, great question. I mean, there's always lots of unknown unknowns, right? So we've it's been a journey of really having to get to grips with Polkadot's technology, which is amazing. But we've had to throw away a lot of the ideas that we have in our heads from previously building applications on Ethereum. It's kind of like we need to get outside that box and not think in the same way about building applications that we did in the past. A lot of the design and tech paradigms are different. Finding builders is always difficult, especially over the last sort of 6 months when the market has been incredibly bullish. It's been very hard to find good people. We've been very lucky to find an amazing team, mostly through serendipity, people that are friends of friends, people that are in our network. But we're looking forward to now that the bear market has sort of come and it's much easier to find great people. A lot of companies are downsizing. A lot of companies that ultimately aren't good enough to make it in the future are going to disappear and fail. And so all these talented people are going to be looking for work. And so we're going to be trying to gobble them up. What else? I mean, other than there haven't been any hurdles that really stand out. I think like we're very lucky to have a very experienced team who's been doing venture building and startups for a long time. And so and obviously there's every single day in startups you're solving problems, but it's kind of second nature to us. I think I mean perhaps one of the biggest hurdles is being in Australia. A lot of our team is based in Australia, about 2/3 of them, and just dealing with time zones is a bit tricky. Like learning to become a decentralized global team is tricky. Having to work in a more decentralized way. A lot of people in the last year or so have had to learn to work from home, whereas for us in crypto, it's kind of necessary to work in this global decentralized way because your collaborators are everywhere. And so yeah, working in a decentralized and sort of asynchronous way is very tricky. It's an interesting and difficult challenge when it comes to building an organization. That's for sure.
Yeah, interesting. How Polkadot empowers Talisman, and what can be improved for Polkadot to better help early projects in terms of development, ecosystem support, etc.
Well, I mean, the Polkadot community overall does a fantastic job of supporting projects in the ecosystem. I think that we're really lucky to be part of the Polkadot ecosystem. It is both, it's an incredibly technically complex space. And so where we get to work with some of the best technologists in the world. It's a lot of the ideas that underpin Polkadot are ideas that have emerged in order to solve a lot of the limitations of previous eras of blockchain technology. And so I certainly find that the Polkadot community is very intellectually honest, and that's something that I really value. And there's been lots of support actually. So we have, in terms of the private markets and the investors around Polkadot, they're very supportive. In terms of organizations like the Web3 Foundation and Parity and the treasuries of Polkadot and Kusama, they're also very supportive and very helpful. And in general, so we have a lot of parachain teams are actually investors in Talisman. And so we've had, it really does feel like one big community all working towards a shared goal. And so we've had a lot of support from parachain teams as well. So, I mean, if I had to say anything that the Polkadot ecosystem could do to improve Talisman and ecosystem support, I mean, I think we just need to build more applications. Like I'm a firm believer that, the thing that is most important for Web3 mass adoption is that we build useful tools and services with the technologies that we're creating that actually add value to people's lives. And so we as a wallet allow you to use all of the applications in the ecosystem. And I would say if you have an idea for an application or you want to build a business that's actually going to improve the lives of others, build it in Polkadot, because that's certainly going to improve the value proposition of our ecosystem and help drive adoption for Polkadot and Talisman.
Okay, back to the wallet. And safety is the lifeblood of wallet. And anything you have done to better secure users' asset than others?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, security, when we talk to our users, is the number one concern that users have. So Talisman is actually going through our second audit in a year. So we're focusing very heavily on making sure that we write very secure and reliable code. We're having our second audit in a year, and we've also previously, when launching our products, we've done extensive alpha and sort of beta testing before rolling them out to the market to make sure that they're safe. But generally speaking, Talisman is an application wallet that sits in your browser. And so compared to other, alternatives like using perhaps a ledger or a hardware wallet, or having a cold wallet, Talisman and wallets like it, whether it's MetaMask or Phantom, are not the safest way to store your coins. They're the best way to use your coins. And so we're looking at ways that we can combine the safety of cold wallets and hardware modules and all of these security products that have emerged in the last few years, and combining them with the application usage of Talisman as well. So we're looking at how we can use multi-party computation. We're looking at utilizing multi-sigs. There's a bunch of things that we're trying to bring to the Talisman product to balance world-class security and application support. But for now, as far as application wallets go, Talisman is, as an organization, we put a huge emphasis on security. And that's only going to get better and better.
Any advice or tips for normal users to safeguard their assets in wallet, not only in Talisman, but also other wallets?
I mean, I would always recommend having different addresses for different purposes, right? So it's important not to always just use the same address for everything. It's like, I think wallets are going to come a long way in terms of multi-party computation in the next few years, and we're going to see something like two-factor authentication for a lot of wallets. Because, for example, you might use a password manager, and password managers are really great for security. But even if your password manager was hacked, you should have two-factor authentication on a lot of the services that you use. And so it should be okay. People shouldn't be able to get into your accounts. But with crypto wallets, if someone gets access to your keys, there's no two-factor authentication. So it's very important to separate keys for different purposes, and use tools like multi-sigs if you can. Use tools like ledgers to have secure keys on hardware modules. I think the most secure way that you can use Talisman is to have a ledger device, because we have fantastic ledger support. So you can have a Polkadot address on a ledger device that is super secure, and you can store your DOT on that. And then you can create other accounts in Talisman. Maybe you want to go and buy some NFTs on Remark, some Remark NFTs on Singular. Sorry, you might want to go and use the Agyle network. You might want to do a bunch of different things, and you can send DOT out of that secure hardware wallet address into other wallets to go and perform those actions. And you can always sort of retain a home base with your Ledger wallet and have the security of Ledger. But we're going to be working on partnering with other organizations and teams to make sure that you can bring keys from other places and use them in Talisman. Whether that's Parity Signer or Nova Wallet or other things. So I think key management is only going to get better and better in the crypto ecosystem over the coming years.
Despite the fact that the blockchain has improved and improved by leaps and bounds, there are still some core bottlenecks that restrict the development, such as the cross-chain technology. What do you think will be the problem facing blockchain in the next 5 years? It is a question that explores the unknown territory where your imagination can run wild. Please don't hesitate to share your personal views. You don't have to be objective.
Good question. Well, I think the biggest challenge of the next 5 years is that the multi-chain world of Polkadot presents an opportunity for us to create something new that we've not seen before. But a lot of the people who are going to be leveraging the technology of building substrate chains and connecting to Polkadot, building applications, they're all going to have their perspective is going to be framed by what they've seen in the past. And I think that Polkadot enables us to ultimately create completely different things. And so this is tricky because people want to create businesses that they can be sure are going to be successful. And so they tend to do what's been done in the past. You know, users also kind of expect user experiences that are similar to what they've seen in the past. And it's only the crazy people, the early adopters, you know, who tend to explore the frontiers of the complete unknown. And so I think the biggest challenge is that, you know, there will be a lot of people who try to build what we've built in the past using this new technology and ultimately throw their hands up and say, you know, this is not that much better than what we've had in the past. But actually what the multi-chain world of Polkadot enables is completely different. I mean, I think about it with this kind of analogy of, you know, if Ethereum is something like a mainframe computer and Polkadot is more like cloud computing. And until it's many blockchains working together in harmony, scaling up and down, you know, performing different functions, and you can have all these different services that can be composed together to create something which is greater than the sum of its parts. And a lot of people are thinking in terms of the EVM. You know, it's very simple to build EVM applications. And so if you try to use Polkadot to build EVM applications, I think there are some substantial benefits, like when, you know, for example, users that use EVM-based applications on many Polkadot chains, they don't have to worry about, you know, bridges and security. It's like the security assumptions across all the chains are the same, and the cross-chain experience will be really nice. But, you know, but ultimately the point of Polkadot is to create this new kind of computing and this new internet of blockchains, which is going to allow us to create new crazy things. Things like Facebook and Amazon and, you know, YouTube were not possible until we had cloud computing, and we would not have anticipated that these services would have existed until they did. And so, so I think the biggest challenge of the next 5 years is going to be people applying the thinking of the past to this technology that enables things that are yet unseen. And there will be things that are built on Polkadot that are going to change the world, and it's not going to be obvious that they are going to do that until it is. And so it will just be, but it requires the courage of entrepreneurs and founders to do these things that are unknown and have a large risk of failure, but also have the potential to change the world. It requires them having the courage to see those things through. And so the challenge is that there's only so many of those people, but I believe it will happen.
Okay, courage is very important. So in the end of the interview, anything you would like to add in terms of Polkadot, Talisman, or everything?
Well, first of all, I really appreciate you having me on, Kristen. And I want to give my regards to the PolkaWorld community. I'd love to see them in our community Discord. You know, we're very receptive to our community in terms of what they want to see. We really want to talk to potential users and community members and help them, allow them to shape the Talisman project. But most of all, if people are going to take anything away from the conversation today, it's that, you know, Talisman is the easiest, most user-friendly way to leverage Polkadot applications on your desktop. You can go to the Chrome or Firefox store and you can download the Talisman extension, and you can use every application in the Polkadot ecosystem. You can use EVM and substrate-based applications, and you can participate in the bootstrapping of this new internet of blockchains that I think is going to change the world.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for being here today. It is a free interview. Talisman as the Web3 wallet unlocks a universe of applications in Polkadot and Kusama. May it a great success, and see you in Paraverse.
See you in the Paraverse, Kristen.